Are you too resilient? So we all know what it means to be resilient and to be able to overcome obstacles and struggles and adversity and get to the other side. But what about being too resilient? When you are too resilient, you could end up facing unnecessary struggles because you are just too good at dealing with adversity and struggling through difficult situations. My name is Claire, and on this channel, my goal is to help you find success, self-love, get yourself out of a rut, and level up your life. Feel free to subscribe for more videos. I want to get into this topic today because I think it addresses the root of why so many of us get into toxic or abusive relationships, work environments, or other situations for far too long instead of leaving. I want you to be able to recognize your patterns and behaviors and make changes so that you can start living a better quality of life. In my experience, there are two main ways that you can be too resilient. This is what being too resilient looks like. The first one is when you do not recognize that you're in a toxic situation. This happens a lot with those of us who have dealt with struggles and adversity and maybe even abuse during childhood. That makes it so that we can no longer even notice that the situations that we're in are toxic. So I grew up facing so much difficulty and struggles and toxicity in my early life that as I got older, I was immune to it. So I didn't even know that it was going on, and I had a hard time even recognizing when situations were toxic. So this is one area that being too resilient can actually be harmful to you. When you have become immune to even noticing the toxic situations that you're in, and you just stay, and you end up attracting more of these similar toxic situations because your radar doesn't go off. You just don't see them as being unhealthy. We can no longer hear the alarm bells or see the red flags because it has become so pervasive and normalized in our lives. Another side to being too resilient is when you can actually realize that the situation you're in is toxic, but you feel that you have to prove yourself, that you're strong enough or that you can overcome anything, or that it's part of your growth to struggle and to have hardship. This is only true when we're able to use it to get through a difficult situation to a better place. However, when we're pushing ourselves to stay in toxic or abusive situations just for the sake of proving that we can do it and proving that we're strong enough to handle it, that is when it is toxic. In my own life, as I started to research toxic relationships and environments and people, I would recognize that the situations I was in were actually unhealthy, but I would force myself to stay because I wanted to prove to myself that I'm strong and that I can get through anything, and that being unhappy was just something that I would have to go through. Today, I want you to think of the situations that you're in now. Are you happy at work? Are your bosses treating you well? Or are you given extra work with no pay and you feel bullied or mistreated by coworkers? Are you in a healthy relationship? Or perhaps you're not admitting to yourself that you are being abused or neglected by your partner or family member. Maybe you just haven't admitted to yourself that you are being abused mentally or physically because you're just so used to it by now, and you can't even tell that there's something wrong. If you're currently in a toxic situation, I want you to remember this. Just because you can does not mean that you have to. And just because you have in the past does not mean that you have to continue in the future. Your strength should come from having standards and choosing to walk away from a relationship or a job or even a family member who is not healthy for you. In my future videos, I will be going over examples of situations that you should look out for to help you along your way. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.